if you struggle with money, the one major thing that you can do to improve your situation, and I know this because I've been there, the one main thing that you can do to really improve your financial life, your financial situation, is to just really focus on money. Be hyper intentional about money. Just say to yourself one day when you're ready, just feel it with emotional conviction, feel it with so much emotional charge, but you've got to get to that point where you're really just frustrated and you just sit down and you just look at the things that you're missing out on, the things that your children or your future children are going to miss out on. Private education, nice toys, going on holidays, just stuff like that. Things that your wife is going to miss out on, or your future wife is going to miss out on, your future self is going to miss out on. And let that frustration set in. Just let it settle in. Feel it. Like really feel the frustration. Feel that anger. It's okay. It's okay to feel that. That's good, baby. That's what you need. You need that anger. You need that frustration to really build up, to fester right up, because that's what's going to change things for you if you let it. Because you have to come to that realization point, and in order for you to come to that realization point that things need to change financially, you have to come to that intersection. You've got to have that frustration and anger. You know what I mean? Like you are at the peak where you're practically throwing up, like I was. I was there. I did that. I nearly threw up, just thinking about living paycheck to paycheck and how I wasn't making enough money, how much money I needed. And I got to a certain point right at the peak and I was thinking, how much longer am I going to live like this? And that's when it hit me. And I started really thinking about the future me, thinking about my wife at the time, thinking about my son at the time. He was only, I don't know, he would have been about 3. So that really cut me deep, thinking about how much they would miss out on, how much the future me would miss out on. And what was I going to say? And that really got me to think, really got me to shed a tear and just get to a point where I said, enough is enough. I need to make some changes now. I need to make a big change. What am I going to do? And the one main thing that I did that you should be doing too is letting that anger, letting that frustration take you to that point where you are at the line and you have to cross that line. And on the other side of that line is the person who you need to become to never struggle with money ever again. I am telling you that if you hyper focus on climbing out of debt, you hyper focus on making as much money as you possibly can, and like 50 Cent says, get rich or die trying. Yeah, that's his album, but why can't you live by that rule? Just do it. I'm telling you that if you focus on making as much money as you possibly can, and you do this every single day, and you instead of grabbing your phone and going on TikTok and looking at some videos, all sorts of rubbish, why don't you start becoming so intentional on becoming wealthy, becoming rich, climbing out of debt, that is your new thing. That is your new identity. And I'm telling you that if you make that your new identity, that the wealthy you will be the default. Like, you'll get to a certain point where that's all you think about. You think about climbing out of debt. You'll start thinking about investing. You'll be doing all the things that I did. I was never into investing a couple of years ago. Like, before that, like a couple of years ago, I discovered investing because I started thinking in that way that I'm telling you about, to become hyper focused and hyper intentional on being the best and doing the best that you possibly can, like in every way, shape or form. Like, you don't understand how powerful you are if you just think that way. If you apply yourself, you can achieve beyond what you ever thought you could. Like, I'm saying that because I have achieved so many things that I never thought I would. Like, even just doing this video right now. Like, you know, if you had told me that I was going to be doing something like this a couple of years ago, I'd be like, nah, I don't want to be talking on camera. I don't want people to hear my voice. I don't want to have to think of all these things to say and blah, 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 blah. But I set my intention to speaking better, to building up a vocabulary, building up a vocab, picking up books, reading up about, lots of different things, about finances, about, about becoming a better speaker. So I'm no professional, but I tell you what, I'm a lot better than what I was 6 months ago. I'm a lot better than what I was last year, 2 years before that. All you have to do is set yourself the intention. And you know what? If I'm not mistaken, you've probably at one point or another, or even many times, you're probably one of those smart people that have seen people around that you deem to be not as smart as you are, and you're thinking to yourself, I bet you have done this, right? You've thought to yourself, look at this guy. How? He's nowhere near as smart as I am, but yet look how much money he's making, right? But that's because that guy who's not as smart as you are, nowhere near as smart as you are, he was hyper-focused. He placed his intention on making money. That's what you're not doing. You are not hyper-focused on making money. You are not hyper-focused on climbing out of debt. You are not hyper-focused on doing better financially, like to the best of your ability. I'm talking giving it your best shot, giving it your all. That is all you have to do. That's all you have to do. Have you ever heard the saying that genius is 1% inspiration and 99% perspiration? That's not just a saying. That's true, right? In many cases, because they were inspired by somebody or something that they saw, right? Because they set their intention on looking up something, they were inspired, and that drove them. They became driven. They became so driven that they wanted to work as hard as they possibly could to achieve something. So then they did. But yet most people, 99% of people out there, the majority, they look at these people as so-called geniuses, right? And truth be told, that a lot of these people, like Elon Musk, for example, Steve Jobs, they are very smart. They're a lot smarter, and they think differently to what most of us do. But at the same time, you can't tell me that the passion wasn't there. They wanted to give it their all, and they worked extremely hard to get to where they are. And they didn't just wake up one day and just say, I'm going to work hard for a couple of weeks, and then I'm going to kick back, and the money will come in. It doesn't work that way. So it is as simple as what I said before. It's as simple as you just letting that frustration, that anger build up to a point to just say enough is enough. Like really think and focus on what you're missing out on, what your kids are missing out on, what the future you is missing out on, and just align yourself with the version of you that is already wealthy. Just focus on the person that you need to become to have all these things that you desire, right? You got to get to that line, and remember, on the other side of that line is the version of you that already exists, right? That already exists, that has these things, these personality traits, that has these, oh, look at this guy, that has these personality traits, that has these, you know, if you really love material things, they have material things too. But what I need to tell you as well is that if you focus on you and making as much money as you possibly can, and focusing on the person that you need to become to have all these things, these material things they're a bonus. What I've read in many of the books is don't strive for material things, because then you'll be disappointed when you don't achieve them. The way that I understand it is try and work on you. Try and work on the person that you need to become, and then the bonus will be that you will end up having these material things. The bonus is that you will end up having all of this money that you've always dreamed of, because you've become that person that you need to be, and you've worked out ways to accumulate wealth, because you've become that person for whom it works. You've become that person for whom it is not hard to achieve wealth. You've become that person for whom it's easy to invest because of their mindset. Just like I became that person. I was never that person like I used to always be the kind of person that always just, like most of us, you get, a certain amount of money, or you get a payout or something like that, like I did. Like I received a payout of roughly about 10,000, and the first thing I thought of, and this is like, I don't know, many years ago, the first thing I thought of was just to spend it. Whereas now, because my mindset is different, the first thing I think of immediately is, how can I make that money make me more money? But I started somewhere. I had to set my intention on becoming that person. So I know that you can do it. I know that you can do it. You have to know that you can do it too. You need to get past certain beliefs that you've encountered along the way, that other people have put in your head along the way, that you'll never make it, or your parents will say, oh, no, you can't become rich, or it's impossible, blah, blah, blah. I hear that all the time as well. You have to ignore those beliefs. You have to ignore those ideas or those opinions, and just pick up a book, listen to podcasts, of people that have made it, people that was where you are, i.e. me, and are where you want to be right now, right? It's as simple as that. So all you have to do is figure out how to fill the gap from where you are to where you want to be. You just have to close that gap. How hard's that? So like I said, first, set the intention and do the best that you can. And you can't go wrong. Because if you do the best that you can, I promise you, you'll get ideas coming out of nowhere and you'll think, oh wow, and then you'll look at yourself a couple of years from then making so much money because you've had all these wonderful ideas that you'll be thinking, wow, I can't believe this is me. I can't believe I'm doing this. I'm doing that. I'm living that life right now. So that could be you. You know what I mean? Like, you could get to that point where you've come up with some great ideas or many great ideas, and that will lead you to thinking a certain way to accumulate all the wealth you ever wanted. But you got to start somewhere. Like I said, set the intention and the rest will come. Focus on where you want to be. Visualize exactly what you want, what kind of life that you want. Feel the things that you're going to miss out on. Feel the things that your family's going to miss out on, the future you's going to miss out on. Just really feel it. Really feel that frustration and anger and just say enough is enough. And I'm telling you, you're going to figure out ways to make more money. And one of the first things that you'll do once you get to that point is you will start to look for work where you can maximize your wage, where you can maximize your annual salary. That was one of the first things that I did. But anyway, I wish you the best, and I have one last thing to tell you, that if you set your intention on doing the best that you can at making as much money as you can and climbing out of debt, you will be able to make so much more money, or at least you will be able to make more money than somebody that is smarter than you, because you have set the intention. And I'm telling you, majority of people, so many people do not set the intention on doing the best that they can. You'll be surprised on what you can achieve. I wish you farewell and good luck.